up, everybody? It's Joe Herrera. I am recording this primarily for our agents at Real. Obviously, if you're not at Real and you end up hopping on, hopefully you find some value in it. Real just launched a brand new attraction deck, and I just wanted to do my best to explain primarily again to our agents at Real what I find value in this deck, what I see that looks really cool. But if you're not at Real, some of this looks interesting. Would love to talk as well. So let me go ahead and get the deck started. First of all, they do their best to make sure that agents can see that our goal encompasses, the number one reason why agents join Real is culture. And so I think real estate is a very lonely place. I think it's very natural for us in the real estate space to be somewhat tribal and to be somewhat alienated and alienating. Where at Real, that is not our jam. Our jam is to make sure that agents feel loved, supported. And so at Real, you're going to see a big part of what we do is culture based. Some facts about Real. There's over 26,000. To date, I think it's 27 plus thousand real estate professionals at Real, which is still only a quarter of 1% of the agent population in North America. There's about 1.5 million real estate agents in the real estate space in North America, maybe closer to 2 million. So, we're probably just over 1.5%. We last year did almost $14 million in closed transactions. We are a publicly traded company on NASDAQ. And one thing I love, 61% year over year growth over the last year. I had a meeting today with a big attraction partner that we're bringing on, and they asked us, where we compare to some of the other big companies. It seems like the 100,000 agent mark is the big mark. If you look at Keller Williams, they're just over it. If you look at EXP, they're just under it. And so brokerages seem like when they hit that 100,000 agent mark, they go from growth mode to churn mode. Well, Real is still very much in growth mode. And so we are excited to be at 27,000 agents, but I'm 100% confident that 70, 80, 90,000 agents is in our next couple of years. Currently, we're in 50 states, including the DC and 4 provinces in Canada. So pretty much the entire continental US and Hawaii and Alaska and Canada. So, there's still a province or two up in Canada that is not yet open. Will be shortly, I believe. So some recognition the company received. I thought this was a really interesting slide that they put in there. In the way agents are connected to Real, it's interesting because a lot of people would love to point out that Real is a revenue share based company. That is true, but only 11% of agents participate in the revenue share plan. So that means 89% of agents are at Real for another reason that is not revenue share, which I thought was huge. Knowing that only 11% of agents receive rev share, it means that 89% of agents find value in our culture, in our model, in our platform that is not revenue share based. This is our guy, Tamir Polig. A lot of you know him. He's a humble leader. We call him the Lion. He's intelligent. He's kind. He's agent focused. Here he says, "Work hard, be kind." Isn't just a tagline. It's who we are. From day one, it's rallied agents who want more than a place to hang a license. At Real, ambition and integrity go hand in hand to build something real and something that lasts. Jenna Rosenblatt had a great quote here. At Real, we're not building downlines, we're building legacies. She's our COO. This is a connected network where agents grow, lead, and thrive together. We are bigger than me isn't just a value. It's the driving force behind the purpose-driven moments that is truly unstoppable. So the driving force behind purpose-driven moments that are truly unstoppable. Pritesh Damani, one of the reasons Taylor and I came to Real, some people know this, some people don't, was because of the tech that Real was building. There are so many companies out there trying to replace the real estate agent with technology, where at Real, the goal is enhancement. Pritesh says at Real, tech and humanity is the engine behind everything we do. We're harnessing cutting edge AI and the power of human connection to reimagine how real estate works for agents and their clients. Not in place of agents, but for agents. Love my guy, Pritesh. All right, well, let's talk about building. When it comes to the cost to belong to Real, one thing I think is so powerful that we as agents at Real need to be good at evangelizing, and you who may not be at Real should recognize, is a very low barrier of entry. So a $12,000 annual cap for team leaders and top producers, a $6,000 annual cap on fees for team members. And if you're a platinum team, meaning your team does over 100 million of production a year, the cost per agent is just $4,000. So that's the barrier of entry. It's incredibly low when you compare it to other companies with 15, 18, $20,000 caps for team leaders, or $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 caps for team members. The cost to belong to Real is not a heavy fee. There is an onboarding fee of $249. There's a $285 transaction fee that kicks in after someone pays their cap. So once you close your first couple of transactions, you're just paying the cap. After that, you'll pay a transaction fee. Then the 285 kicks in. There's a $40 CBR fee, which is like a broker ops fee. Once you hit elite status, your transaction fee drops. So there's no monthly cost to belong to Real. There is a $750 annual fee that gets paid on your first 3 transactions. So 250, 250, 250. Very, very low barrier of entry. As we talk about, receiving stock, this is something that Taylor and I were very attracted to when we came to Real, was the stock plan. So when I pay my cap of $12,000, I get 150 shares of stock. When a half cap agent pays their $6,000, they get 75 shares of stock. So this isn't changing anybody's life, but it is something that Real is doing. 450 or 150 shares of stock right now is about $600-$700 worth of value. So if you're paying your cap at Real, rather than giving you a silver statue or a piece of paper recognizing your achievement, Real is actually giving you shares of stock. Now, if you attract an agent and they close their first deal, Real is actually giving you shares of stock when they cap. If it's a 12, or when they close their first deal, if it's a 12K cap agent you attract, you get 75 shares of stock. If it's a $6,000 cap agent, you get 35 shares of stock when they close their first deal, which is huge. Real recognizes success and it rewards it. So if you want to belong to a company that costs you $0 to belong to, and you do production, my advice is to go to Real. If you're doing 25, 30 transactions a year, then you'll be right in the mix for the Elite Agent Award, which basically happens when somebody pays their cap and pays $6,000 in post-capping transaction fees. Well, what does an Elite Agent Award mean? It's not, again, an arrowhead crystal statue. It is stock. So you pay $18,000 into the company, and the company gives you $16,000 in stock. What else? Well, if I pay $18,000 into the company in the form of cap and transaction fees, the company gives me $16,000, then technically it still costs me $2,000 to belong to the company. Well, if I'm willing to participate in the culture of the company, giving back, hosting live events, teaching in the Real Academy, whatever it is, then I get $8,000 in stock every year for being a contributor to Real's culture. And so now I get $24,000 worth of stock by only paying in $18,000 and being a good global citizen at Real. Like, it's an absolute no-brainer for any agent. Even if the stock never grew, you would be earning $6,000 more in stock every year than you're paying to belong to the company. For me, that's an absolute no-brainer. So if I wanted to acquire stock by working at a company like Starbucks, then I would take a little piece of my paycheck, buy some stock, and they would put a bonus on it. Well, at Real, we have a stock purchase plan that allows you to take a percentage of your commission and buy stock with it. So now, as a max contribution for a 12K cap agent, I'm putting in up to $3,400 a year, and Real's giving me $340. That's all pre-cap. Post-capping, I can go all the way up to $15,000 contributed and another $2,250 stock award. So now I'm $18,400 into it, and I get $2,500 in free stock. So this is something that I've done every single year. when I look at my stock purchase plan, I have purchased roughly 65, $70,000 worth of stock through the stock purchase plan. And by getting bonuses and seeing the stock grow, my $65, $70,000 is now worth well over $100,000. So again, an absolute no-brainer. Well, let's talk about growth. Well, using the capping program as a way to run my business enables me to participate in other growth opportunities at Real. One of them is running a pro team. So what this does for me is it allows me to operate my team in a highly flexible environment, meaning one agent may be on a 50-50 split on a deal, another agent's on an 80-20 split on a deal. One agent may pay their own transaction fee, we may pay a transaction fee for an agent. So Pro Teams gives us the ability to manually have the flexibility to modify agent's compensation plan based on the deal we have with the agent. Real likes to call it a brokerage in a box, meaning your team at Real is going to operate very differently than other teams at Real, and Real just wants to give you the flexibility to do that. What is private label? Private label is, imagine a world in which you've spent 20 years building a independent brokerage in your market that has brand recognition, culture, all those things. Now, you may not be comfortable as that brokerage owner with the liability you're taking on by being an independent brokerage. You may be lonely. Your agents may be lonely. So you may look at the economics and culture that Real has to offer, and you may want to bring it to your market, but without giving up the brand awareness that you've built. Well, the Real private label model allows you to have your cake and eat it too, meaning if you're an independent brokerage, you can adopt Real's economic model and culture while maintaining your own private label. Meaning, if you're XYZ Realty in Hoboken, New Jersey, you can now be XYZ Realty at Hoboken, New Jersey with Real's economic model and national collaboration model built in. So you don't have to abandon what you built that got you to where you are. Well, let's talk about revenue share. So again, only 11% of agents participate in revenue share. But if you ask me, if you came to me and said, hey, Joe, I run a really big team, my options are stay where I am at my traditional brokerage or go build a brokerage for myself, I would tell you the number one thing you could do is continue to run your team, but come to Real and build a network. And so networking is, at Real, we really are one big network. Everybody's in this together, but the sponsorship has its privileges and its responsibilities. So every single agent that is in your family tree, that in your sponsorship world, creates an income potential for you. So very simply put, Real believes that sponsorship is a responsibility, and because of that, it most highly compensates the agents you directly sponsor into the company. So of the 15% they pay to the company, you receive 5% on the agents that are in your tier one, 4% on the agents they bring into the company, 3% on the grandchildren you have at the company, basically 3 generations down, 2% on fourth generation, 1% on fifth generation. And so revenue share is not, for a lot of us, it's not necessarily a side hustle. It is a business model. And so we joined Real with 80 agents. We now have thousands of agents in our world across all of North America. It's an actual business. And if you ask me, it's the most profitable business I run, but it is not a requirement to be at Real. You can be at Real and not run a network, 100%. It's an option for those who want to run it as a business. Co-sponsorship is something really cool. So Tamir and I worked on this together. There were a lot of agents involved, Tim Macy, a lot of us involved in this discussion, which basically allows an agent, when they're looking at Real, what happens if they have 2 people that have been very influential in their decision of coming to Real? Well, Real will now allow them to divide their sponsorship between 2 agents. And so thinking of it as not putting someone in a tough position to either choose you or somebody, Real is allowing them to choose you and somebody, which is a really cool plan. This is one of the most heartfelt principles we have at Real, which is Real retirement. I can't tell you how many agents I knew 15 years ago that were crushing it that now are having to drive Uber or do whatever to make ends meet because they don't have a retirement plan. Well, Real's retirement plan will enable you to starting at 60% of your monthly revenue share for the long term and going up as you stay with the company for longer. So after 3 years at the company, you're keeping 60% of your revenue share. But after 5 years at the company, you're keeping the vast majority of it. So you could step away from active production and just continue to keep your license, keep it active with Real, and continue to receive revenue share long after you're done with production. And it is actually willable. So at Real, the revenue share you build can continue to provide for the people you love even after you're gone. So, like, my wife is my beneficiary on my revenue share. As I, if something were to happen to me, she would continue to receive my revenue share long after I'm gone. So let's talk about support. The broker support at Real is great. Every state has at least one, but a lot of times multiple brokers that are constantly there for you to help. Now, there are times where reaching out to the broker is not the most efficient way to do it. And so Real has built into it principles like Leo, which is an AI engine that allows agents to receive information, accurate information, collective information. So think about it this way. If I'm trying to get a hold of my broker to ask him a question that really is too small, like it's not, maybe it's not a, it's an opinion-based question, not a legality-based question. I can hop on my Real Reason app and I can ask Leo a question that has pulled from the knowledge of the collective. So Real's AI engine has input from all 27,000 agents at Real. So asking myself, if I'm asking an opinion-based question, is it my broker's opinion? Or do I really care about the collective opinion of many? And so, yes, there's broker support. Yes, your broker's going to be there for you, but also so is the collective group of agents at Real. I can call on all 27,000 of them by using our collective AI engine that shares knowledge with everybody. I'm going to kind of go through the rest of these relatively quick. Real does have an online training platform, which is great. It enables you to get information on anything. How do I run a great open house? How do I create an Instagram reel? How do I run ads on Google PPC? How do I run a team? How do I build a team? Like any of those questions you may have, there's trainings 24 hours a day that you can watch. Let's talk about, at Real, one Real is more than a name, it's a culture of collaboration. And so there's this argument in the real estate space right now, which is very specifically, is it better to be an alienated silo, an alienated tribe, us versus everyone at the company and everywhere else? Or is it better to work in collaboration? I've thrown my hat in the ring of collaboration. It's not very natural for me. For me, by nature, I'm a competitive person. So it's like me versus you is fine with me. But what I found is there's so much alienation in the real estate space that what I love about Real is the culture of collaboration. So one Real is not just a name, it's a concept that all of us live by. And I absolutely love it. If you're sponsored by somebody else at the company and you need some of my time, I was on a call today for 45 minutes with a guy that's struggling with lead conversion and lead generation. He's not in my sponsorship world, but he's at our company. So of course I'm going to be there for him. And that is what one Real is all about. The health benefits is something that I can't necessarily speak on as far as like in practice. I have not utilized it, but I do know that Real wants to make sure that agents know they do have options when it comes to healthcare. So there is Real healthcare that a Real healthcare component that allows them to access it as an agent at Real. Financial grants are available during times of crisis. Every time there's a natural disaster, the Real community rallies around and supports its own, which I think is awesome. Let's talk about the technology. The tech stack at Real is awesome. We do not hire third-party technology for much, if anything. We do have a communication tool, which is WorkVivo. We do have, Lofty for a CRM. But as far as running your core business, all of it is done inside the Real Reason app, which gives you the ability to manage your transactions, past, present, and future. Get some information about your network at Real, like who are the agents that sponsored you and who are the agents you've sponsored and how is their business going. You also have the ability to see your stock ownership and things like that. So the Real Reason app replaces any other brokerage management software, and every single agent has it right at their fingertips. I can pull up our app and see exactly where I'm at toward the cap, exactly how many transactions I have in escrow, exactly how many agents I have in my world. It all starts right here with Leo. I can pull up Leo and I can say, when is my real estate license expiring? And now Leo will tell me, which is actually the next slide here, is Leo. Your real estate license for Nevada is set to expire February 28th, 2027. And so I can use Leo. I can say, how many transactions does my team have in escrow right now? And so it pulls up. Here's your brokerage for your team has 28 transactions in escrow right now. So like, it'll just tell me everything that's going on in my business, which is awesome. Real Wallet, the piece of financial technology that is amazing. Every single agent at Real has a Real debit card, which enables me to access my Real Wallet at any time. So yes, I get paid commissions instantly, which is awesome. And yes, if I find myself in a time of need, Real is launching a lending program that will allow agents to access their future commissions, revenue share, stock ownership at a small fee, which is a fraction of what credit cards charge. Every single agent will have a financial relationship with the company that'll enable them to draw on, to basically borrow money from their own brokerage. No more commission advancements at 37%. Like you're working with your brokerage, and so they're there for you in times of need and opportunity. Let's talk about the joint venture relationship platform. So Real has made it simple for you to be able to take part in ownership of a title company, in ownership of mortgage, and in some places ownership of escrow if it's a different company. So traditionally speaking, only the mega teams have the opportunity to enter into a JV relationship with title. Where at Real, every single agent has the opportunity to be a part of Real Title, which is huge. Real Luxury launched, Real Military launched, Real Commercial will be launching. And so there are divisions for individuals who have a military background or want to work with military individuals. Agents who have a history of high-end transactions can participate in the Real Luxury program, which is great. Real's Marketing Center, powered by Leo, enables you to have marketing materials at your fingertips. And so like I get it every time we take a listing, I get and I pull up the app, it'll say, hey, see that you listed 123 Main Street. Would you like us to create an Instagram post for you, or a flyer, or a just listed, just sold? And so like for us, the Marketing Center enables our job to be very simple in that I have instant access to AI assistance in marketing material creation. Real's events are amazing. So we've got the Real Rise conference. We've got Real X, which is a virtual conference. I think you'll find every single market has agents getting together on a regular basis and doing Real cafes, Real meetups in local markets. And so it's not just the virtual. We are very much passionate about the live events as well. We've got preferred vendors. I mentioned Lofty. There's a whole bunch of them in here that enable you as an agent at Real to get a discounted access to these partners. Last but not least, we do use WorkVivo as a communication tool that makes sure you just kind of stay on top of what's happening at the company. Long story short, Real is an entrepreneurial endeavor for agents who want to make the most of their real estate career. I will tell you, I've spent 10 years at Remax. I've owned multiple different brokerages, and I am at my most successful point of my career right now. We're still running our team. We still have our brick and mortar office. We're running a network. We acquire stock. We are doing everything that Real suggests for us to do, and our family is benefiting. So, agents at Real, I hope this helps. You should have gotten an email today from Tamir with a link to this slide deck. If you don't, hit me up. I'll send it over to you. If you're not at Real and any of this makes sense, would love to connect as well. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're having a great year. I'm talking to some agents who are having the best year of their careers. And if you're not, then let's talk, because we can help with lead gen. Obviously, we can help you build something big, because the future is absolutely bright. Have a great day. I hope you're finding value in the content you've been consuming, and my goal is to earn your subscription. So subscribe down below so that you get notified when we drop new content every single week.